Welcome to Transformation with Martine. Conquer everything and compromise nothing. This show brings you real, raw, and vulnerable conversations. If you have never liked small talk and have been on a personal growth journey for a long time, stay tuned as Martine and her guests share empowering stories. Now is the time to own your past and look toward your future with hope. Believe in your dreams, and all that you want to achieve is possible. Transformation Coach Martine helps you accept and love you for you. It's time to listen to your heart and tap into your unlimited potential. You have the answers you need inside. Sometimes you just need the right guide to help allow transformation to happen. Transformation with Martine starts now.
Welcome everyone to Transformation with Martine. This is where we conquer everything and compromise nothing. Happy Friday, everyone. For those of you that are unfamiliar with my show, it is every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and my show is about resilience. The guests that I invite on my show are conquerors. They have overcome a lot of things, and they're here to tell their story and share all their awesome tips. And today I'm really excited to welcome somebody who's become one of the most favorite people in my life. I'm going to get emotional. We met at a retreat in Grenada just recently, and I was so privileged to be invited to participate with wonderful women and few men as well, awesome men. And I don't know, I've just been feeling like blessed and got to wear ocean colors every day since then because it was such a tremendous experience. And one of the people I met is my wonderful guest, Alicia Houston. And well, welcome, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And I feel you about that emotion. I just felt it come through the screen right when you said that, because it just allowed so much to open up in that space. So I am blessed to know you as well.
Thank you. Yeah, for those of you who haven't been to a live events, I invite you to do that. And we're going to talk about one that's coming up that Alicia is going to be part of, leading with the wonderful Esther Graham. She's either after this show today or next week. She's every other Friday as well at 2 p.m. Don't forget to catch her shows. And anyway, she put on the event that we both went to, and it was wonderful. And Alicia was part of the event, leading the event. And these were women that they are go-getters. They have succeeded in so many areas of life. But when we come together, there's always something to uncover, to process. Because life is hard. It's hard.
It really is.
Yeah. And those of us like Alicia and me, we've gotten to a place in our life where we know that there's so many blessings in these lessons, but sometimes, damn, it hurts to sit in those lessons, right?
Woo! Say that again. It does hurt. It does hurt. And they're very challenging. And I love that the whole premise and the theme is about resilience, because we've got to have it in this life, or we're going to have a lot of regret, and we're going to find ourselves in a lot of despair if we do not operate in that space.
Yeah. And I was talking to a colleague of mine the other day, and we were talking about how to build resilience in children. We want to love, we want to nurture them, we want to take care of them for sure. And then, especially as they're getting a little older, we're both moms here. You have to let these lessons happen.
You do.
And I know for me, there's like all three of my kids are going through some things right now, and oh my God, I want to solve it. And
oh my goodness. And I think that's really important. And it's funny we're talking about that. I just love organic conversations.
Yes.
Because I was looking at something, it may have been it was some social media platform. And this young lady was teaching her son he was washing, he was taking the trash out, he was doing things. And it's very interesting, the society we're in these days, that people, the commentary and the rhetoric that people have around children really, as you're saying, navigating these spaces so that they can build this level of resilience in life,
Mhm.
and really what I call critical thinking, right? That
Yeah.
we have protected our children so much.
Mhm.
And I can remember back, we are very similar in age as we were
Mhm.
growing up, the things that we were allowed to experience, to fall, to fail, to come back from. You know, our bounce back muscle is very different than a lot of the children these days, because we
Right.
have these helicopter parents too, right?
Mhm.
Because we don't want them to be in pain, but that level of pain creates a critical thinking ability in children, that they can become strategic as adults and
Yes.
navigate certain terrain that we will rob them of and actually handicap them if we continue along that path. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. You know, there's a person I try not to get onto TikTok too much because it's very addicting,
Woo.
you know, especially if there's certain people you resonate, other coaches, or,
Yes.
whatever, just people.
Yes.
But there was a lady that was talking about how, in our, age
Yes.
bracket here,
Yes.
like a lot of us were, at least I was for sure, left to tend to myself.
Mhm.
And we were outside a lot of the
Yes.
time. Our moms wanted it that way, right?
Yes. Go play.
Yeah, go do something.
Yes.
And a lot of us too didn't, well, our parents, my dad anyway, didn't really want to hear what I had to say, or, that. And there's a lot of that. Not only it taught me a lot. I mean, a
It
lot of
does.
things. There's things I've definitely had to go through to overcome, to feel like I was important.
Right.
Yet it did teach me to be strong.
Yes,
And I
Martine.
am a strong woman, right?
Yes, you are.
So, as you are. And
Mhm.
before we go any further, really, like, what brought you into this world of transformation?
You know, it's really, and I think you'll probably relate to this. You
Mhm.
don't say, I'm gonna just go transform myself. It's just be a
Yeah.
better human, right?
Mhm.
It's like it kind of happens to you because you're open to it, or because your soul is calling for it. I know our souls always know what we need, even when our brains don't know what we need, or
Yeah.
our conscious selves. So what brought me into it was just with relationships with people that I was in, and I mean like friendships, not
Mhm.
romantic relationships,
Mhm.
and introducing me to different thoughts, different themes, things that my background is in science. And
Mhm.
so I'm always about understanding that there are things beyond us that we just may not have tapped into.
Yeah.
And the world of, I didn't understand it was called the world of kind of transformation at that point, but the world of possibility
Mhm.
really spoke to me. I always was someone, and I didn't even realize it, who thought outside of the box. My friends always said, "You were always thought outside of the box, Alicia. You were always willing to do something."
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that, and I'm like, wow, made me sit back. So it was through my relationships, right? Some relationships which are no longer, not a bad thing. They've just
Mhm.
they served their purpose, and then they've moved on. But it was through that space that I was introduced to various teachers,
Mhm.
in the space, and some resonated with me, some didn't, but I still got something right
Mhm.
from each one of them. And the ones that did resonate with me, I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to learn more. I was intrigued. Like I said, I'm a scientist by nature. So I'm like, ooh, let's tell me more. Let's learn more. And then let me go experience for myself. Let me do my own research. Let me get into this work. Oh my goodness. Now I'm seeing results, right? You do an experiment, you see results, you want more,
Oh, yeah.
And so that's really how I got into it, Martine.
Mhm.
Just by being open to possibility, knowing that there was more. And I'm a woman of faith, so
Mhm.
I know the God I serve. This is a large universe, and there are many worlds in this universe, and
Yeah.
heavens. And so I'm always open, because I know there is a vastness that we just have no idea about. And if I decide to keep myself closed off, I am missing out. And ultimately, then those that I have been put on this earth to serve will miss out.
Mhm. Mm.
Yeah,
That right there.
yeah,
That's something actually that Coach Sean Smith said, a while back. It's like, holding our stories, not sharing our stories. Yeah, it's hard to
Mm.
speak out sometimes, but if we
Yes.
don't, what life might we save? Lisa Nichols has said
Woo.
that too. Who might we save by sharing our story? And when
Yes.
we are vulnerable, we connect,
Yes, Martine. Oh,
right?
oh, and as you know, Lisa and Sean are both my
Mhm.
mentors as well.
Yes.
And I have a deep respect. And because of their ability to be authentic, to
Yep.
really share this work in a manner that I see myself in it, they're the reason. And at first it was Lisa Nichols, and then the connection with her and Sean.
Yeah.
It really brought me deep into this work and to see the value in it. So yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to
It
share
is
and to bring
beautiful.
others with you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was talking to just about a week ago with a friend of mine, and she was talking about her husband, and he got a recent diagnosis, not cancer, nothing like that, but
Hmm.
still some life-changing
Yeah.
things. And she's like, he wouldn't change anything about his life if he didn't have a ton of bricks dropped on his head. Well, I
Mm.
relate to that well. There
Woo.
are things that, I've been through a lot in my life, and I am, but it wasn't until I got my cancer diagnosis that I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
life is freaking short.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
time to make a move.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break in a minute, but did you get one of those? Or maybe you're not as hard headed as I am, but did you? Yeah, okay.
Yes. Okay.
Did you have to get that too in
I
order to
did.
start?
I
Mm-hmm.
did. I did. And I know we're going to take a break, but I will tell
Mm-hmm.
you, mine was when I was released from my own company
Oh
in
God, that is.
2017. Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. But the signs were there, Martinet, even
Mm-hmm.
before. So I know we'll talk about that a little more deeply because I am hard-headed. I do what I want to do sometimes in my own flesh because it's comfortable.
Yep.
But those moments, they call you out of the comfort zone and into
Mm-hmm.
your greatest gifts.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a time my mom was like probably like one of the most loving people you'd ever meet, but boy, she was tough.
Yes.
And I remember there's one time being in a restaurant, and this waitress was just terrible, and I
Mm.
mean, we can look sometimes like, somebody's having a bad day and you can have compassion and everything, but she was
Right.
downright nasty.
Ooh.
And I remember, I don't know how old I was at the time, but I saw her just like, oh no, she gets up from the table and follows her and gives her a big
Gives her the
old
business.
talking. Yep. And I was like, ooh, I like that.
Mm, yeah.
So it's like the strength inside of us is good, and
Yeah.
that stubbornness and all that stuff can be very good. But there's
Right.
also a time where you kind of got to go like,
Yes.
a message is trying to get through here. We are God
Mm.
girls, right?
Yes.
Something is trying to get through to us here, and we do have to relax that a little bit.
Mm.
So,
Love that.
tough, strong, resilient, and got to surrender sometimes
Yes, we
to
do.
those messages.
Yes, we
So
do.
we are going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with Alicia's story.
Love
Thank
it.
you, everyone, for tuning in. Back, everyone, to Transformation with Martine. This is where we conquer everything and compromise nothing. My guest today is Alicia Houston, and we've been talking about stubbornness, which not us, we're not stubborn, but other people, those of you that are, we have some tips. So
I love that.
so Alicia, why don't you tell people how you're not stubborn, and how
Yeah,
no bricks got dropped on your head or anything, but how it
absolutely.
happens to people.
Yes, yes. It happens to others, never us, because
Yeah.
we listen so diligently
Oh, we do. We
to
do.
just the signs. We surrender so easily, right? Yeah, not. And that's kind of how I will say one of the at the time, one of the most challenging pieces and places in my lifetime was at the end of 2017. I had the ability to grow a biopharma company. I was a co-founder and CEO. As I said, I'm a woman in STEM. I love science. I love research. It just lights me up. And had the opportunity, right, in 2004 to find this company with some amazing other women and grew that company to multiple millions of dollars to the point that which we didn't know we were being watched by VCs. We had no idea. And because that was never our mission, right? When you start a business, small business, you're like, oh, we're just gonna ride this till the wheels fall off. We're gonna change the world, you know. And let's also put us back into 2004. Entrepreneurship was not this thing that it is today. It just absolutely was not. To the point that, you know, my mom was like, what are you doing? You're crazy, stay in your job. Other people too, but I knew my calling. So had the opportunity to sell our company, to actually be acquired by an amazing company that was aligned with our core values, our mission, all of that. And stayed on with that company. That surprised a lot of people that I stayed on as long as I did, for a little over 3 years, about 3.5 years. And in 2017, it was just a regular day at the end of in October. Going to plan our year for 2018, right? You always plan, start doing the budget, get things solidified at the end of the year for the next year. And it was in that moment that I was told that my position had been eliminated. We were not moving forward with my position. And so it was really a challenging space to be in, but I was very proud of myself because I was raised very well by both of my parents to maintain my professionalism, to not just blow up at anyone, right? Doesn't mean that I was not devastated on the inside, that I was not completely blindsided. I was completely blindsided. Even what was told to me, the reason for this meeting was not the truth, which really did not have to be, right? I was a woman of excellence. I just believe it could have been handled differently, but that's neither here nor there. And so to receive a notice, to have a piece of paper slid across the desk at you that this is your last day at the company you built. Yes, it's no longer your company. You've been here, you built it, but bye-bye. I can't even describe. There was a shame even because now, mind you, my employees are downstairs. There was a shame even in that. There was a sense of failure. There were so many emotions that you couldn't even reconcile in that moment. If you could only imagine putting yourself there, right? So it was really challenging. And I remember walking back down the stairs with my head held high and just going to my office. And grabbing my things at that moment, because I was going to come back later in the day to get everything, you know, after the employees had left. And getting in my car and never crying, but just being like almost like the Twilight Zone, Martine, like, what is like out of body? Like, is this really happening? Like, wow. So that day was life-changing, as you could imagine, very life-changing.
Did you call anyone in that moment or just kind of sit there?
So you know, I'm leaving the parking lot, right? I'm backing out of that parking lot, but I went down the street and I parked and I called my husband and I was like, they just released me. And I was still in, like, I'm processing too. Mind you, it just happened. So I'm processing it too. I'm not in the transformation work at this time, right? Right. I've been exposed to it. I'm dabbling in a few things, but not to the where I am today. And he is like, are you okay? And, you know, and he was he was cussing them out, you know?
I can visualize it.
Yes. I am just like I said, Twilight Zone. He's like, just come home, you know, come home. So mind you, at that time, my husband had retired from the Navy, 24 plus years. So now he had the opportunity to stay home with our youngest child, which he was not able to do with the older children because he was always deploying and had responsibilities. So I'm grateful that he was home, right? And I go home and I'm glad he was there because I was able to kind of right and process and all of that. And at the end of the day, he took me back and he has a truck and we got all my stuff and that was it, Martine. That was it. So you're processing and you're like, why did it have to be like that? Like,
Right.
If this position, if you wanted to move forward, which I get how these things, how there's a different vision, but the conversation for that could have been so different. I'm not a woman of malice. I mean, they know my level of integrity. We could have just, they could have just said, hey, we're going to move a different way. We want to go on, and let's part ways amicably. And then I could have told my staff, hey guys, they're going a different way. Just, I can't wait for you all to rock it. I mean,
yeah.
it just could have been different. And so that the next 6 months were really challenging because, Martine, I realized my identity was built and based in what I was doing. And so it had meshed, right? Because I would speak at various places within that for that organization, representing that particular, the world of clinical trials and research. I would go to different shows, and you knew people, everyone knows you. So it was just the identity was very connected to who I was in that moment. And so I'm very grateful, though, that I always believed in support in the realm of therapy, right? And so I made sure, because I was trying to process it by myself. Let me be honest, I really was. And I reached out and I got a phenomenal therapist. And it was with her support that I began to process, right? Because let's be clear, I was angry. I was hurt. I felt betrayed. There were so many things. I was like, what do my employees think? They think I was fired because I did something terrible. All of those things are going through your mind, and you are trying to navigate that terrain. And the chatter, it's so hard. So I got that therapist, and it was with her support, her help, that I was able to come out of the valley, right? Come out of the abyss, to process my feelings, to make room for them, to allow them. Because as you and I, as we alluded to earlier, Martine, we grew up that you got this, we didn't grow up where you just were, where, yes, it's okay to shed a tear, but you get through it. You keep going. You just, woman up, put your big girl panties on.
That's right.
And that doesn't serve us. It's actually you actually implode if you're not careful. And so with the support of this therapist, having the space to process my emotions, to call them what they were, to be angry, to do all of those things, I got to this place of understanding and forgiveness. Yes. And it was a process, my sister. It was a process. Yeah.
Oh, I love that you say that too. It's like, we don't want to, like Maya Angelou said, she's like, you can park for a bit, but you don't stay parked, right? So you allowed yourself, you gave yourself space to feel all your feels. And then you started to move along. My heart and mind, it just goes to, like, God, such unfairness. And I can see why you're mad, why you're hurt, all these things. This was your company. And then I also think it's like, sometimes, as much as we want to reconcile the unforgiveness, we want to close things properly. We can't.
Right.
I mean, there's certain things, like, it just comes to my mind as a quick example, is that my nephew and my sister were fighting when she died. He has been left with that all these years, and he's still, like, he doesn't quite talk to me like he used to now, because he can't face it. I'm Auntie, I'm Hanny, I'm, and there's still this pain there, and he'll never get that closure. The only thing he can do is just kind of talk to it and accept it. So yes. So when you got to this place of, we do need to take a break in a moment again, but when we get to this place of, understanding in the only way that you can, what is your next step? After that.
We'll talk about that when we come back. That's good. Thank you.
It's hard for, I feel for people that you probably, could have had a conversation, another one, but you probably didn't need to because of the work that you did. We'll talk about that. But it's like,
Yeah.
I feel for people that
Yeah.
can't, but they've got to just forgive
Yeah.
and solve and talk to that
Yes, Martine.
emotion.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot to
Okay.
process.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone, to the place where we conquer everything and compromise nothing. My guest today is Alicia Houston, and we've been talking about, transformation on all different levels, and that some of us, not us, need bricks on our heads, and, to just move forward, to take that chance that we may not have taken if something hadn't kind of knocked us a bit.
Yes.
So, yes.
I love that.
So you got, to me, tremendous unfairness in the closure or leaving of your sold business.
Yes.
And after you started to, feel kind of good about it and got to a level of forgiveness, where did you go? Like, what was like your next step?
Oh, Martine. Oh, that's and I love it because I can think back to this with no malice, right? Like my heart is open. I feel love even when I go back to that space. So I know I'm whole and I'm healed in that area. So after that, I was like, wow, what's next? Because I have a lot of gifts, right? And so really what I did, and I had forgotten about this until right now, literally right now when you said this. I got back in touch with one of my business partners who was also gone. And I said, what would you say my gifts are? And just, it was really beautiful to hear her just kind of pour into me about my gifts. And I said it was kind of like the nose on our face, right? We see right past it because it's easy for me. And so I was like, okay, so I had all that information from her. And I said, okay, Alicia, what are you going to do with this? So I got an executive coach because I did have an executive coach at the previous business after we sold it. I'm very grateful to them that they did get me an executive coach. So I was able to experience that. But I found an executive coach that resonated with me where I was right in that moment, where I needed to grow and understand more about myself and my gifts to develop. And it was working with that executive coach, right? So I've gone through therapy. I'm processing, I'm healing, still in therapy, right? But I have this executive coach, two different things. Like sometimes people try to, I want to be clear, an executive coach is not a therapist, And even if they have credentials, they're a different, they're hired for a different purpose. And so this executive coach really helped me tap into the greatness within, really helped me tap into my gifts, really helped me see myself for who I was, and what I had, and brought attention to what I had created in my previous business, right? Because I felt like, oh, it's over, it's done. She said, no, let's tap into that. And so it was with that I was able to see the brilliance within. Like how I did have a gift for cultivating leaders, how I did have a gift for creating cultures of inclusivity and safety for people to feel they belong, where all voices were heard. And so it was in that space that I began to see the evidence, right? Because the brain needs evidence. It can't just be filled with fluff. The brain needs evidence. So my brain had evidence, like, oh, you kind of can rock that, Alicia.
Yes,
possible.
you can.
And so it was in that space that I began to venture into creating what I have now, right? I began to put myself in rooms where I was very uncomfortable because now this is new, right? This is new. I was dabbling a little bit, as I said, but I really now had the capacity, the space. And let me be also very transparent that it was lovely to not have to worry about the finances, right? Because let's be honest, I had sold my business, so it was acquired, and I did have a great salary. Like that was why it was so challenging to leave, because there were little knocks on my spirit that I was supposed to leave, but I got scared. Come on now. I want to
Mhm.
speak that. So anyone that I don't want anyone to think that this was just this, oh, I just got some therapy and everything was great. And I moved into, no, I was scared to leave. And
Yeah.
because I was scared to leave, Martine, as you said,
Mhm.
the bricks got dropped on my head and I
Yeah.
had to move into the next level of my life. So this
Yeah.
actually helped move me closer to my destiny. Yeah. Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. And so it was in that space, just to kind of answer your question, that it was in that space of getting into that executive coaching
Mhm.
support that I began to uncover and see what was possible for me and how I could be someone who impacted the destiny of others
Mhm.
with my own gifts, and making sure I surrounded myself with people that spoke that language, that were actually doing more than me.
Mhm.
So, because as I said, I was in the other industry and many of us were doing the same things. There were people at different levels, but they were still like my colleagues and my peers.
Yeah.
Now I'm moving into a space that's not the case. And um, I'm very uncomfortable in a good
Oh,
way,
yeah.
but it helped me to see possibility, and it began a place and a thought process for me of understanding, oh, there is so much more than where I was, and how
Mhm.
where I was now with this hindsight was actually holding me back. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Surrender.
Surrender. That's it too. And it's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah, very hard, Martine.
Mm.
And sometimes we will miss our moments, and we'll miss the lesson because we're operating in a space of victimhood.
Oh
We're
gosh.
wallowing
Yep.
instead of rising, right?
Mhm.
And being and opening our minds, our hearts, our spirits, and tapping into the gifts that really were cultivated in that
Mm.
previous world, whatever the
Yeah.
previous world you were in,
Yeah.
and then bringing them into where you are going.
Right.
So yeah, so it was really m- taking ownership and operating in a space of self-awareness,
Mhm.
um, to not stay in any type of pity party, because it's fun to stay in the pity party. Woe
Oh,
is
it
me.
is.
This is what happened to me. This is what was done to me.
Yep.
And moving out of that, even if you recall when I said, when I was in 2004, when I knew it was time for me to move into partnership and open this company,
Mhm.
where my mother was telling me, I don't think that's a good idea. You have small kids. You have a mortgage. You have
Yep.
responsibilities,
Yep.
and you're gonna leave that comfort and that sure thing, which we all know is not a sure thing,
Right.
but
Oh
in
God.
that generation, that mindset, it was because it was school and hard work
Yep.
and degrees and position in organizations that brought stability. And so
Mhm.
I had to really, and once again, wasn't easy, but it was through therapy, right? Years
Yeah.
later, through
Mhm.
therapy, understanding like, oh my gosh, oh, she just loved me. She just loved
Mhm.
me. She just
Yeah.
wanted me to be safe.
Yep.
and and it's okay, and I have to appreciate her lens, right, where she was, because she really was just looking out for me. She really
Absolutely.
just wanted me to be, and me and the kids and the family to be okay. That's
Mhm.
really what it was. And it also was her mechanism of protection, right?
Yeah.
It was her mechanism of protection. Well,
Yep.
I told her, I shared the wisdom.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Mhm.
man. We can relate to that, especially just being moms ourselves, how sometimes you just kind of want to say something and maybe you shouldn't, like I've
Yeah.
always encouraged my kids to talk to me because
Yes.
my parents weren't real open. My mom was kind of what you'd consider
prudish,
Yes.
like there's certain things you just don't talk about and all that, but where I've
Yes.
encouraged all kinds of talk.
Yes.
But there are some times where I just kind of want to go down this path or say something like, no. Just
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Just be there. Don't put in, you don't want to stop
Right.
them from doing anything.
Mm.
You want to, but you don't.
Right.
They've got to go down that path,
Right.
Oh man,
The
it is
restraint, right? The
a journey.
self-restraint.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
We've learned that,
Yes.
in our own parenting from parents that were like, mine was the
Right.
same as yours. They wanted to stop you, and they're not trying to hurt you. They just don't want you to have the pain that they had.
Yeah. The disappointment, the
Mhm.
challenges.
Mhm.
And I'd be remiss, quite honestly, Martine, my mom, she's a Black woman, and the challenges were different. My parents,
Yeah.
they're African American individuals, so the challenges, the lens is different. Not saying that I don't experience challenges as an African American woman, but at, even then, oh my goodness, things that were, rights and welfare and things of that nature.
Right.
So I had to understand that, right? I had a responsibility also to see things from where she was coming from. So we have to understand the responsibility. There's a duality when it comes to responsibility, right? There's a dual culpability in understanding one another. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And you touched a bit like on the whole like victimhood. Sometimes that we do want to stay in that space because it kind of feels good, especially if somebody's giving you sympathy,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's also a place that when we're feeling bad like that, and you alluded to this too, it's like, think about what you're missing all around you right
Yes.
now. And you could even be like, this has happened to me before, and man, sometimes I'm so in my head about something that I missed a whole conversation going around me because I was stuck on something in here. And it's like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
you can't get that back. You can't
Oh,
catch that.
right.
The present moment is
Precious.
so precious.
Yes. You're so right, Martine. You're
Man.
so right. We've got to be
Yeah.
present, and we've got to be
Mhm.
intentional about how we utilize our mind and our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got to process these things. We've got to go through these things, but then we've got to kind of step out and be back here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is good. We can go on for days.
Yes.
No, we've got to take a quick break again, but we'll be back in just a moment, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome back, everyone, to Transformation with Martine, where we conquer everything and compromise nothing. My guest today is Alicia Houston, and we've been talking about everything transformation. And speaking of that, my friend, where can everybody find you?
Oh, my goodness. So you can find me, all things are my name.
Yeah.
So Facebook, you can find me with my name, Alicia Houston. I know, just make sure you spell it right, as I know it's listed on the what's it called, all the information for the show.
Yes, it's all here.
Everything is Alicia Houston. It is Instagram, LinkedIn. I do a lot of my conversations on LinkedIn. I do a lot of my fun stuff and still some posting on Instagram. And my Facebook is just kind of, it's there, but it's just there.
It's there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But everything is Alicia Houston. Yeah.
But why don't you say a little bit about what's coming up in July that I can't wait for?
Got it. So, it's funny how everything, right, that we've talked about as we were leading up onto the show has brought me to this point. And I just want to encourage anyone out there who may be in a bit of a storm or maybe in a bit of a challenge. Understand that everything you're experiencing, although it is very uncomfortable, it could feel quite horrible, quite honestly. It all is going to be of value if you allow it to be. It is, as Lisa says, my mentor, the gift wrapped in sandpaper, right? It is. Yeah, it can really be tough on the outside, but that gift on the inside is worth every moment. And so just as you are experiencing the challenges, just stay in a space of surrounding yourself with amazing people that pour into you and continue to speak life into you. And it's because of that, because as I said, I was in those rooms, right? I put myself in uncomfortable situations, that I met amazing people, that it was because of my experiences that I now run a company that works with organizations, that deals with culture, right? And we create, and I help organizations create amazing cultures for their people, or just kind of put a cherry on top of an already amazing culture. And I've built partnerships with people, and as Martine said, Dr. Esther Graham, I've been able to build a partnership, a friendship, a sisterhood with her. And as a result, we are hosting an amazing women's empowerment leadership event in Atlanta, Georgia, July 21st and 22nd. And it's called FDD is the acronym, but it's Festa della Donna. And Dr. Esther asked me to partner with her because this was something that she believes all women. So she was in Italy, and this was something they did all the time. Every year for Women's History Month is Festa della Donna celebration, and it honors women, their contributions, their what the things that they bring to the world, and then brings women together to build more partnerships and to build a broader impact. So that is what's happening in July in Atlanta, Festa della Donna. We're going to come together. We're going to dance. We have a bling sneaker ball. So you can put your bling sneakers on with your cute little cocktail dress. And we can take pictures, and we have a picture booth. I think picture booths are the best.
They are.
We have a DJ, but I believe we're going to have amazing vendors. And what I believe the value of this is really coming into a space, connecting with other like-minded women, creating relationships that you just have no idea where they're going to go, right? What you may do together, who knows who. You come into a room and you are fully present, you are active, and you find what you've been looking for. And there's someone else in that room that also knows someone else that they can connect you with for what it is you need in this very moment. And so it's just a space of love. It's a space of gathering. It's a space of taking your leadership to its next level, taking your connections, and just really a space where we can celebrate one another and continue to expand our impact. Every one of these women attending are doing phenomenal things in the world. That's what it's about, right? It's great.
I can attest to this because I was just in a room, and I have never I've been in some great rooms, I will definitely say that. Wonderful training rooms, wonderful events. And this room there was a specialness about it. There was a connectedness about it. There was a vulnerability about it. God, you could feel people's hearts. It was a place where everybody played full out. And I think that if you're going to go to any of these events, you owe it to yourself.
Yes, Martine.
You owe it to yourself.
Yes.
I tell all of you, everybody that's listening right now, really check this out. We will provide the link to you. And I can't tell you how much it's meant in my life, and how, it's been a few weeks since we've been back, but how it's just sat with me. And I've connected on a almost daily basis with many of the women I spent time with. And, as we get older in life, especially, I've always loved my women friends, but it becomes more and more important. I love my husband, and I really need my women friends. I do. And these are all women that are wanting to grow together, that want to connect together, that want to support each other, that want to share their friends, so that, like Alicia just said, we help each other with, what do you need? We help each other with that. And this is a place. This is the place. I encourage all of you, check it out. And I tell you, you won't regret it. You won't regret it.
You won't. And I love what you said. This is a space of sharing, of opportunity. And sometimes we've heard women are catty. They don't get along well. This is not that space. This is not a space of cattiness. This is a space of love. This is a space of welcoming. And I want to speak really briefly, like you said, come and be present, play full out. Sometimes we pull back and we hide in the shadows. Let's not do that. This is not the space for that. This is a space for you to be all of you, to be loved, to be seen, to be valued, for your input to be contributed in this room. This really is a place of next level. This is like the springboard, I say, to take us into our next level, because whoever you need to know, whatever you need, it's going to be seen and reached in this room.
Yeah. And the whole, it's kind of a cliche term or whatever, though, that, your life is on the other side of your comfort zone, but it really is true.
Oh, what were we just talking about today? Now I'm doing what I love because I have come out. I was willing, and I still have to go into rooms that are outside my comfort zone. Right. It does you don't ever make it, right? That's what transformation is. It's continuous work and ownership on yourself and your journey. Yes. I love it.
And we're worth it. We're worth it. You out there listening, you're worth it. God made you for a purpose. Alicia and I are God women here, but whether you believe in the universe or God, whatever it is that you believe in, you're here for a purpose.
Right.
And you owe it to yourself to connect with people that are going to lift you up and are going to help you shine your own light.
Yeah. I love that. And one thing I'll say is bet on you. Yes. You are your best bet.
Yeah.
You are your best bet. Invest in you, bet on you, take yourself into those spaces that are going to get you to that next level.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, one more thing though. What about St. Lucia?
Oh, you're talking about Antigua.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yes, I host a women's retreat in Antigua yearly. High level women. We'll make sure to have the link if you are desiring that. We are actually almost sold out this year, so I don't know if it'll be available this year. But I believe that we should meet in beautiful places and beautiful spaces as we create our next level. Yes.
That has been sitting with me since you said that, Alicia, because when I was walking the beaches of Half Moon Bay, I'm sure you're a California girl too. And I was just thinking about like that. Women, especially, we need beauty around us.
We do. We deserve it.
Yep.
Deserve it.
Yes. So check that out. Also check Alicia's pages, Alicia Houston, ALYCIA, Houston, HUSTON, and check it out and look at her retreat coming up as well. Yeah. And there's a lot of good stuff here. So check it out. And what's your final thought there, my friend?
My final thought is don't be afraid of something new. Don't be afraid of something different. If the vision is within you, give it some opportunity, give it some thought. Yes. It's all you. Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. We could go on for another couple hours.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Martine.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm sure we will do it again.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you everyone so much for tuning in. And don't forget, every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And if you have a story of transformation and overcoming, reach out to me. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to Transformation with Martine. Real, raw, and vulnerable conversations. Listen or watch live every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on transformationtalkradio.com. As Martine and her guests have deep, meaningful conversations, sharing empowering stories. Step into your passions and lead with your heart. If you are ready to accept and love you for you, visit martineemmons.com and start allowing transformation to happen today.